Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. What is going on with Arsenal this summer? Arsenal have sent in an offer to Chelsea to sign Noni Madueke. Arsenal view Noni Madueke as a pure right-wing option to back up Bukayo Saka, and this deal does not affect the arrival of Eze as an attacking midfielder, Rodrigo as a left winger, and Shesko Oyokorez as a centre forward. Arsenal are pushing to sign Noni Madueke as they believe he's the perfect replacement, backup, and competition for the big man Bukayo Saka at Arsenal this summer. We're going to be discussing all this in this video. Let's talk about Noni Madueke. How good is this guy? What is the market value of Noni Madueke as a player? How much should Arsenal offer? Do you even like him, by the way? It's a very, very big question. But most importantly, why are Arsenal going for such a higher profile player as a backup to Saka? I think I know the reason, because it happened last season. And what happens with Ethan Nwaneri after this transfer? If Eze comes in and Madueke comes in, does Ethan Nwaneri really stay at Arsenal, or does he go out on loan? What would you like to see? He picked up a new squad number that might indicate he stays, but we'll be discussing all that and more. And the options that Arsenal have, in case we don't sign Noni Madueke, Arsenal have other options that tells you they want a right-wing option, not just Noni Madueke as a player. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for me. July is gonna be busy, and I'm gonna be here, just telling you everything that happens. You can support me by hitting that like button, turning on notifications, and watching the videos as you comment your opinions in the comment box below. But let's get into it. Let's start off with the big breaking story from the man himself, Florian Plettenberg, reporting from Sky Sports DE, or what we'd call Sky Sports German. He says he understands that Arsenal have already submitted an initial offer for Noni Madueke at Chelsea. 23-year-old winger could leave Chelsea in the summer. Talks have started with CFC. Madueke is one of the several profiles Arsenal are assessing for this position. Arsenal are still considering a transfer for Rodrigo should he wish to leave Madrid this summer. Right? Very interesting stuff. Arsenal have submitted an offer for Noni Madueke. 23-year-old is one of the players Arsenal are looking at in the position, and he could leave Chelsea this summer. Of course, after Chelsea signing a couple of players, João Pedro arriving for Brighton, and Bino Gittens Jamie arriving for Borussia Dortmund. Now, we are being told, because there is also a story that was run by Fabrizio, and Fabrizio said that Chelsea are not desperate to let go of Noni Madueke. He's appreciated by the manager. He's appreciated by everyone at Chelsea. But if a good offer comes in, they would absolutely let him go. Now, for me, there is no way you're telling me that you signed Pedro Neto last summer, and this summer you're signing João Pedro, and you're also signing Jamie Gittens, and you're telling me that Madueke and Sancho and the likes are still very, very valuable. This is Chelsea trying to stay calm and try to prove that they can, they really want the player, right? Maybe to get more money out of his sale. But we all know the arrival of Gittens and the arrival of João Pedro means that the likes of Mikhailo Modric, the likes of Noni Madueke can be allowed to leave if the right offers come in. Now, it's a story that is developing, and it's developing very, very quickly, because it was first reported by Fabrizio on Saturday that Arsenal were just internally discussing the option of Noni Madueke. There was nothing advanced there. We were not at this stage where Arsenal were, sending bids or talking to Chelsea. There is nothing there. Right? On Saturday, Fabrizio reported that Arsenal were just internally looking at Noni Madueke, and he was one of the options Arsenal were looking at, okay? And among the options is Igor Paxiao at Feyenoord, is Antoine Semenyo at Bournemouth, and also Malik Fofana at Lyon. So Arsenal are looking at other players. But it's a story that has quickly developed, just like the Eberechi as a deal. We are now at a stage where Arsenal have even sent in an offer, according to Sky Sports German, for the player. So it's one that's developing very quickly, and I'll try to keep tabs and keep you informed. Now, in terms of the profile of the player, just to explain to you, Noni Madueke is an English international born in Nigeria that is 23 years of age, joined Chelsea in January of 2023, right? Coming from PSV. And is one of these players that caught the eye of many people, of many teams when he was at PSV. And he's one of those strikers, forward players or wingers whose value is projected to rise and rise and rise and have a very, very high ceiling. And I've seen him play, and you have seen him play. You know that Madueke is a good player. Consistency is a big part, and we'll talk about it because he lacks consistency. He's consistently inconsistent as a player. He can have 2 bad games, 3 good ones, 5 good games, and 10 bad ones. But if he can fix that, if he can, consistently perform at a high level, there is talent there, and there is a very, very good player there. Now, predominantly, Noni Madueke plays at right wing, not at left wing, okay? And this proves what Ghana Blog and The Athletic have been saying, that as they want to sign a right winger and an attacking midfielder as well, these two deals are not affected by each other. They're independent of each other. Left wing and right wing are independent of each other, and attacking midfield and right wing are also independent of each other, right? So Madueke last season had 7 goals and 2 assists. Obviously, it was a season where Chelsea had a lot of mixed zones. They had a very good zone where the likes of Madueke were flying, Mikhailo Madueke was flying, Neto was flying, and all that. And they had a very bad zone where every player kind of shut down, and the team almost, was trying to get relegated. But they came back later in the season and secured UEFA Champions League football. He's not a developed player yet for me, right? I wouldn't put him at the same level as when Arsenal signed Trossard. No. I wouldn't put him at the same level as when Arsenal signed Gabriel Jesus. No. This is a player that, yes, has played for Chelsea, he's played for PSV, but he's yet to have that one compelling season or that breakout season. I think we can see him come at Arsenal and explode, but we can also see him come at Arsenal and become a massive, massive flop. Now, according to the transfer market website, his value or market value is 40 million euros. And this tells you something about Noni Madueke. When he was signed for Chelsea from PSV, Chelsea played closer to that amount or slightly a little bit more for Noni Madueke at PSV. And his market value being 40 million euros, that shows you that there's been little development, if any, on the player side. The only thing that he has got is a very long-term contract with Chelsea and Premier League football experience now, right? And Mikel loves Premier League proven players. Madueke is an option. The reason as to why Arsenal are going for this guy is very, very clear, right? But we don't know whether that reason is enough to match Chelsea's valuation. Because Chelsea are saying his market value is 40 million euros, but for us, we want 45 million euros, right? To 50 million. You can give us 45 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons. Now, would Arsenal be willing to pay 50 million euros for just a backup for Saka? Yes, I'm going to tell you why. But for me, Madueke is not the kind of player that a club like Arsenal should be paying over his market value. Like, there are players whose market value just kind of underrepresents who they are. An example is Mbeumo. Mbeumo's market value is 50 million euros. But Brentford is saying, to hell with that. You're either giving us 65 million pounds or more, or he's not going anywhere, okay? So I think Madueke's market value represents him as a player very, very well. I think Arsenal should be looking to pay 35 million euros plus 5 million euros in add-ons. And you look at the players that Arsenal are looking at in terms of options to Madueke. You have Malik Fofana at Lyon, the Belgian. His market value is 30 million euros. And then you have Igor Paxiao at Feyenoord. His market value is 35 million euros. So Arsenal are looking to do a deal along those lines. And if you don't believe me, I want you to look at this. Gyökeres's market value right now is like 65 million euros, right? But I would happily pay more because this guy is good at his job. Šeško's market value right now is like 65 million euros. And again, I would pay 70, 75 million euros for the guy. And then you have this guy's market value, that is Martin Zubimendi. His market value is 60 million euros. And again, I would pay more. So these are players that you can pay more than the market value because they've added a lot of value in the last one season or two. I don't think Noni Madueke has added a lot of value ever since he came to Chelsea, apart from the contract that is very, very long, and the fact that he's played in the the Premier League and won some simple childish silverware at Chelsea, which is the UEFA Conference League. Okay, but the real reason as to why Arsenal are going for Madueke is this. So what happened last season was Mikel Arteta was shaken by the injury crisis that we went through. Arsenal went through 2 injury crises, but people didn't realize. We went through the first injury crisis where players got injured at the beginning of the season. And then after that, and a few people that are important actually survived that. Saka survived that. The backline survived that. Some of the major players in the backline survived that. And Rice survived that. And Kai Havertz, right? So the first injury crisis took Odegaard. He became injured, and we struggled a bit. Gabriel Jesus obviously was injured. We struggled a bit as well. Jorginho also picked up that injury. Tomiyasu and a couple of others. And then players came back and Arsenal playing some good football, and we started trying to make ground on Liverpool. And then we had a second injury crisis where Saka was taken, Havertz was taken, Saliba eventually taken, Gabriel Magalhaes was taken, Timber was playing with a bad injury and in a lot of pain, to mention but a few. So Arteta realized the importance of having at least 2 players per position, but he also realized the importance of having a good player behind your reliable players. I'll give you an example. Kepa behind Raya. That is not a mistake. It's not a mistake. The Arsenal were trying to sign Joan Garcia, top goalkeeper, top quality, behind a top goalkeeper in David Raya. It's not a coincidence that you have White or Timber competing for the right back spot. It's not a coincidence that Skelly is available and you also have Calafiori available. It's not a mistake that Arsenal have Gabriel Magalhaes and you have Kivio and you have Calafiori. It's not a coincidence that Arsenal quickly went to sign Christian Norgard, right, to back up Zubimendi the moment we knew that Partey was going. So Mikel understood you either have options or you have uninjurable players. Is that a word? Like uninjurable? I don't know. I mean, English, thank me later. So you either having machines to operate in these positions, or you have a very good backup plan and plan B. And why I like the signing of Madueke, I would like it, apart from him being another Chelsea reject, is when Arsenal are playing a club, let's say Reading or Sunderland, Saka rests, Madueke plays. Zubimendi rests, Norgard plays, and Arsenal will win that game very, very comfortably. But for 50 million euros, I think a deal, it will have to, the price will have to come down. How good is Noni Madueke? Now, I would say he's talented, but we have not seen anything from him yet. Although at Chelsea we have seen some flashes and bits and pieces. Can Arsenal upgrade him? Well, Mikel Arteta is good at upgrading players, but he has also failed at some. Lokonga failed. Sterling failed. So I am skeptical whether Arsenal can actually upgrade this guy's abilities and give him that explosion of a season that he actually needs. But the talent is there. Right wing, left wing is a little bit versatile. In terms of scoring goals, he needs to improve his finishing. No question about that. In terms of creating chances, you cannot be a winger that has played over 25 games and you have 2 assists in the Premier League. That is embarrassing. So he's got to improve on that as well. But he's got the pace, right? He's got the ability to beat a man. He's got some of the qualities that we see in Bukayo Saka every single day at the Emirates Stadium. Talking about the options that Arsenal are looking at here, Igor Paxiao, 25 years of age, market value 35 million euros. Last season, 26 goal involvements, scored 10 and assisted 16. For a backup for Saka, if Arsenal can agree a deal below 35 million euros for Igor Paxiao, Brazilian, of course he's 25, which might be a point of concern, and maybe Arsenal are drifting towards Madueke because he's young, he's 23, and they're like, okay, he's got more time, right? But for me, Paxiao would be a very, very good option. And then the other good option would be Malik Fofana, 30 million euros at Lyon. He has Lyon have agreed a deal with Nottingham Forest to sell him this summer, but the player is still waiting for a club in the UEFA Champions League. He's still waiting to see if a club like Arsenal, Manchester United are interested before making and committing to his move to Nottingham Forest. I think if you can't do Madueke, Malik Fofana would be a very, very good option. Arsenal also looking at Semenyo, but Semenyo is expensive, like 75 million plus. Good player, and now he's extended his deal at Bournemouth until 2030. That is not happening. But Noni Madueke, not a bad deal in my opinion. He's a good player. And the fact that his deal doesn't affect Eze, and it doesn't affect the left-wing options, I'm okay. Like, okay, let's talk about him being a Chelsea reject, because what saddens me, and I want to be very sensible here, right? But as an Arsenal fan, what saddens me is Chelsea going, our wingers are not good enough. Let's go for Gittens and let's go for Joao Pedro and improve our forward line. And then the wingers that are not good enough are being dumped and offloaded into my Arsenal team. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the imaging of that. I don't like the framing of that. But then I ask a question. If Arsenal really get Madueke, and we get Rodrigo, and we get Eze, and we get Xisco, does that make us worse because Madueke is a Chelsea reject? Or does it make us better, secure, and have more options? For me, the latter is better and true than the former. But you can let me know in the comment box below what you think about Madueke. He's a Chelsea reject, but Arsenal are serious.